Hi everyone, in this video I will talk about the middle section of Johnston Creek, which runs south to north before it reaching the Rensselaer Bay in inner west Sydney. I chose this place because the building typologies here changes differently on different sides of the creek. So I divided this part into 3 zones. Now we can see that in the orange zone, the policies here focus on conserving the Victorian terrace under the control of the Heritage Conservation Area, and it has a strict limit on building height and facade materials, but it doesn't have too much creek-related controls. About the blue zones, it has more flexible rules. It's still the R1 residential area, but it doesn't have heritage area. It allows mixed-use development and also have some new renovation nowadays. In the right zones, the building planning here becomes the strongest with the Harold Park Development Control Planning and VPA master planned apartments. Also, this area has to meet the flood planning and the water-sensitive urban design requirements. This is the strongest influenced place by the Johnston Creek. So now we can see some pictures about these areas. Here are some pictures I take in the orange zone. The buildings here are classic Victorian terrace, sitting on narrow lawns with timber fence, small front gardens, and slightly raised entries. But as we moved uphill, the character changes. The rear side of the terrace face the slope, so we can see some small basement windows and narrow laneways stepping down towards the creek. And when we close to the valley floor, the building form becomes lighter and more informal. It seems like people here that want to face the creek. They want to reduce the influence from the creek and water. So we can see from top to bottom, the building form shift from formal into more improvised as they approach the creek. In the blue zone, the buildings become much more mass as we go through the creek. Some houses have simple backyards with lightweight fence because they are sitting close to the creek with softer ground. But if we go a little further, you will find much larger buildings with big facades and modern materials. We can see that only several buildings are under renovation at the same time, which means that this place do not have a large development nowadays. And because it is really close to the creek, so most of the buildings here turn their back to the valley, using high fence and some screened backlands to keep their privacy. And actually, this area is more like a free place, not too consistent like the Victoria Heritage Place, also not master planned like the Harold Park. In the red zone, the creek valley really takes over the shape of the neighborhood. The buildings pull back from the water and sit behind a wide green ground, helps manage the stormwater. We can see the bike line, the wide footpaths, and the central median trees shows how the street is designed from scratch rather than evolving over time. And the building heights is under the control of the Harold Park Development Control Planning. And most buildings work with climate and views. They are taller than anything uphill but still step down as it gets closer to the creek. What's more, the supermarket, which works as the social of the project and also satisfies the residents here. We can see this photo shows a fully master planned floor plan zoo where buildings stay back, open space extend, and the creek becomes the main driver of the building form. So across this part of Johnston Creek, we can clearly see how the building typology and build form shift as the line drops towards the valley and along the creek. The orange zone on the ridge is tight, fine-grained, and shaped mainly by heritage rules, but it is difficult to change in the future. The blue zone at the slope foot become maxed because it's close to the creek and has some softer grounds, but it starts with some small renovations. And the right zones in the valley is fully master planted, with buildings stepping back behind a huge green ground to deal with flood conditions. Together, these 3 zones shows how typography water and planning controls work together to produce a very visible typology gradient along the creek. Thanks.